afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Armstrong coming back again today with another episode of Tuesday Tips. All right. If you are liking the information that is being released in these videos, please like, subscribe, and share. Today, we're going to talk about typical boundaries. Okay. Typical boundaries. There are 4 types of boundaries that a person should set. And some of these boundaries are common sense boundaries at that. And be it that they're common sense boundaries, sometimes they seem to be a little on the predictable side. However, even if they're on the predictable side, they still need to be set, they still need to be maintained, and they still need to be practiced. Okay? So we're going to look at just a few, maybe 4 of these boundaries that many of us need to learn to set. Mental boundaries, physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, and spiritual boundaries. These are all boundaries that need to be set, maintained, and kept. Okay? These boundaries, when you set them, the implementation of them can allow you to feel safe, protected, and to have a positive outcome or a positive outlook on life itself. Okay? What we need to look at is why boundaries are so important. The importance for boundaries, number 1, it keeps you in a place of positivity. It keeps you in a place of not being on the defense or offense. It keeps you neutral. I'm very big for setting boundaries, especially when it comes down to your own personal care, when it comes down to self-care, okay? So let's go through just a few of these. Mental boundaries. Mental boundaries can look as simple as not allowing yourself to participate in negative conversation, not allowing yourself to participate in something that you know is painstakingly impossible. Mental boundaries allow you to have more of a positive feedback in a more positive atmosphere around you because you're not always in this negative mode of thinking. Okay? Physical boundaries. Physical boundaries. Keeping a comfortable distance. We know that we're in a pandemic and everybody's saying stay 6 feet apart. But even then, if you feel that someone is evading your personal space, you have the right to tell them, hey, do you mind, you're in my personal space right now. Set that boundary. People love to intimidate you sometimes by their body language and getting close to you to intimidate you and to mentally break you by their physical presence. However, hey, you keep that physical distance, we're good. Okay? Emotional boundaries. And emotional boundaries are one that I'm going to dwell on because people do not understand, nor do they know the impact of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is almost, to me, stronger than physical abuse. Someone can be emotionally abused but appear perfect on the outside. They're smiling, they're in conversation, but behind closed doors, they are an emotional wreck. Creating a boundary to protect your emotional self can help your day, your week go by stress-free. Emotional boundaries are so important that if they are not maintained and kept, it can lead to other boundaries being broken, such as the mental and emotional, such as the spiritual boundary, because emotion and spirit go hand in hand. All of these boundaries, out of all of these, emotional protection is foremost, to me, the most important. Protecting one's emotional self. Okay? And then last but not least, with emotional boundaries, it is the refraining from manipulations. Okay? Be careful how people can manipulate you into doing what they want you to do. Be careful how you interact with people, because we don't know their motives. Everybody has a motive. We don't know if those motives are good motives or bad motives until we find out. So we protect our emotional self. And last but not least, I would say your spiritual boundary. And this is a touchy one simply because we should not allow pastors, other people in ministry, whoever they may be, to manipulate your spiritual growth by their misinterpretation of the scripture. The Bible tells us that all scripture is given by revelation and the interpretation thereof. Everybody is not using the scripture for the right reason. If you are in a spiritually manipulating church, I recommend you find a new church home. And not only the pastor, but the people around you can be very spiritually manipulative. Protect that spiritual self. Protect that spiritual man on the inside. When we protect all of these four boundaries, we create a force field that cannot be broken. We create a barrier of self-protection. We create a force field of personal care and personal development through these types of boundaries. Okay? Far too long, we have been told that we don't matter. You don't matter. And I was speaking to people of color. Our boundaries have been crossed time and time again. We are even living in a day now where just a month ago, 4 years ago, that boundary was always crossed. It's time now that we set these boundaries so that we, as people of color, are not manipulated. This is Black History Month. Far too long, year after year after year, we have gone into another year feeling defeated. It's time out to start feeling defeated, to stop feeling this way. Let's learn to take care of ourselves. Let's learn to put our own emotions and our own needs first. When we learn to do these things, there's nothing that can stop you from being the best you possible. And in all things, keep the drive. If there's something that you are embarking upon, keep the drive. When I started this practice years ago, people were telling me things to do. And in my heart of hearts, I kept saying, I'm going to make this a profitable and a prospering practice. First, I'm going to make sure that me as the clinician, make sure that I'm right. Then I'm going to make sure that my clients are taken care of. If you're out there embarking upon something, you can't be around negative people. If you're all constantly bogged down by negativity, guess what? You're going to be a negative person. Everybody doesn't know your hopes. Everybody doesn't know your dreams. Everybody doesn't see the progress that you're making. Nobody can determine what's best for you but you. So I hope that you take these few words and these few tips, and I hope that they will be profitable to you, that you can use them in your life and apply them. Thank you for listening, folks. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a good one.